Hello backers, and welcome to the Secrets of the Lost Station gameplay walkthrough. Here we're going to show you many of the components of the game, such as these highly detailed miniatures that we have 3D printed to show you some of their detail as well as scale. And we're going to take you through some of the mechanics of the game so you can get an idea how the gameplay works. We have made many changes and updates to the original Secrets of the Lost Tomb system to create a brand new but exciting experience here for Secrets of the Lost Station. As you can see, there are some different elements in Secrets of the Lost Station that were not in the original Secrets of the Lost Tomb. We have done these things in order to make the game more accessible and take away some of those fiddly bits that some players gave us feedback on. So we were able to take that player feedback from the community and create an even better game. A game that's more streamlined and easier for players to pick up and play without losing any of the great narrative in the game. Characters. One of the most important things about Secrets of the Lost Station are playing really cool and epic characters. Each character has 5 main attributes: strength, dexterity, knowledge, mythos, and combat. They also have a movement score, which is right below strength. Each character also has a special ability, which usually are once per game, but some of them can be earned back again later after play. As you can see, they all have starting stats. They have audacity, health, and starting courage. The 2 dials on the left-hand side are how to keep track of your health and your audacity. And the top peg track is for courage. If the courage goes above 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you will be going into the focused mode, which allows your characters' special abilities and their weapons and different items that they have to go into a focused mode, which means that they have a bonus added to them. And the bottom track is the power, which is kind of like experience. When you get to 10 power, you get to either turn over one of your special abilities to a level 2 side, which means that it's got a better, more powerful bonus to it, or you can get new special abilities that you will unlock as you play the game. Each character also has a highly detailed custom miniature that goes with them. Secrets of the Lost Station has a great many very unique and interesting boss creatures and regular creatures throughout the game. Each one of these creatures is going to be represented by a miniature. The boss miniatures are all unique, whereas the other miniatures may have more than one of each type with them. Therefore, we have created a numbering system so you can more easily keep track of their hit points. You take the creature stat card and you put it on a larger card, and then depending on the numbered miniature, you would then go ahead and place hit points on them, so you can easily tell the difference and keep board clutter way lower. For the demo, we're using stickers to represent the numbered miniature. However, in the game, we're still deciding whether or not we're going to mold that into the game or if we're going to provide a sticker of some sort to make it look as nice as possible. Each creature has different stats, including boss creatures. They have special abilities that are listed here on the top. They have, of course, their hit points, their movement score, and, of course, the damage that they deal. They also have a combat score, which you're trying to roll against to beat to attempt to not be hit by the creature. Bosses also have a player scaling, so the more players, the more difficult the boss will be. This, again, is an easy way to scale the game and make it much more interesting and better for multiple players. Secrets of the Lost Station has many different random tiles in the game. It's a game of exploration, where the players play as these characters and heroes that start on the Icarus, their own spaceship, which docks with the station eventually after falling out of hyperspace and nearly losing their ship. They enter through, of course, the docking station, through one of these airlocks. And when they enter the station, players will explore through these doors. The reason why it only starts on one, thematically, is because the station has an interlocking room system within it. When you go through a door, you hit a set of numbers and it calls down a new room. So in gameplay, you will actually draw from a room tile stack and you will explore out, similar to Secrets of the Lost Tomb and games like Betrayal at House on the Hill. As you explore, you'll notice that there are these tokens. These are exploration search tokens. When you're in a room, you can spend your action to go ahead and take that token and potentially find an item or some other story event or encounter within that room. If you decide you still have an action during that turn or you want to continue moving, you can continue exploring into other rooms. Each room tile has different effects, such as this one, the bridge. At the top, instead of a regular exploration effect, it actually has a scenario triggered effect. When you see a scenario triggered effect, that means you go into the storybook and you read the effect that takes place. At the bottom, it has a special effect. As you can see, it is an action effect. So this particular one is action knowledge, and you need to get a knowledge of 2 to succeed at it. This particular one allows you to open up airlocks and destroy minions in other rooms. So if you're in the room, you can make a roll, and if you succeed at your knowledge roll with 2 successes, you can actually clear an entire room that's with an airlock in it. That's the special effect of the bridge. This room has a monster spawn, so a creature will spawn as soon as you find this room, and it will spawn depending on the scenario that you're in. It also has a teleporter in it, as you can see, which means it's adjacent to other locations that have teleporters. Right here is usually not where you would see it, so close to the other teleporter, but it could happen, and that means that you can actually skip other rooms and explore directly to another tile in the station. In Secrets of the Lost Station, we have created a new component called the Station Track. Every turn at the beginning of your turn, you will flip over one of these tokens. Each one of these tokens will potentially impact the round. When you flip this token, it will say if there's a special event. This event is a character event. It is kind of a special story that impacts the character whose turn it is. That's when you go into the storybook, you look into the scenario, and you find out what type of special event has happened to your character. This could cause a special roll, or maybe you'll find a special item, or perhaps it's just a really interesting story or something that you learn about the station itself. This is how you can uncover different types of secrets from the station. This token here is a station event. Station events are things that can impact everybody in the game. They're kind of these global events that could potentially cause everyone to roll a die or do some sort of a check on their attributes, or it could just alert players of something happening in the actual station. And again, these are things that are determined by the scenario. These are scenario trigger tokens. As you can see, they are not random. They are pre-placed at the beginning of the game. The rest of the tokens are random, but these you can see from the backs that they are coming up, so you can plan for them. These scenario triggered events are things that are going to occur for the scenario especially. These red tokens here go on top of another station token, and these remind the players when the creatures in the game will activate, when they move, and when they attack the players. When you see that, you remove it first, you let the creatures activate and attack, and then you flip the next token for the next player. This one here is blank. That means nothing special happens, and the player just takes their turn and plays as normal. This component is called the Station Board. On the right-hand side, you can see there's a card that is currently named Demo. This is for the demo scenario, and this is what lists your objectives in the scenario, so you can easily track it without having to refer back to the scenario book. This particular demo has objective 1 and 2. So as you complete them, you might place a token on them to remember and denote that they're complete. On the left-hand side, it is the station board area. The abilities for the station abilities go here. These abilities are things that you unlock as you play through the campaign. They are very special global abilities that any player or any hero can use during the game to help them. This particular one is a medic drone, for instance, and this helps to pick up players if they become too injured. The station board and its abilities are fully customizable. The more of them that you unlock, the more that you can use on the board. Of course, there are limits, so you can only have 6 currently active at the same time. But the more of them you get, the more you can interchange, and you can have a lot of very cool and special abilities that you can use from player to player. In Secrets of the Lost Station, there are a few different types of tokens in the game. The first one is the action token. This is to remind the player whether or not they've spent their action after they've taken their free movement. There are also health tokens. These are to remind the player how many health each creature still has. And of course, there are quest markers. These are used in the different room tiles to remind players where quest triggers are and different objectives are. These are search tokens. Search tokens are used to remind the players whether or not they've searched the room. And these are generic tokens. These are used to count how many charges there may be on a station objective, or potentially one of these station abilities. The dice for Secrets of the Lost Station are very special, and they are very simple to understand. There are 4 basic symbols, and there's also a blank side on the dice. The first symbol, of course, is a 1 success symbol on the left-hand side. It looks like a blaster. The second is 2 successes, of course. There's 2 laser blasters there. The third icon is the Audacity icon. Audacity is there used to basically allow players to get more successes when they perhaps wouldn't have. If you roll those, you can spend one of your Audacity points from your character to turn Audacity into successes. There's also the critical fail, which is the circled X, and of course there are blanks on these dice. These are for quick reference. Of course, these dice are sticker dice that are just for the demo only and for the prototype. They of course will not look like this for the game, and these colors are actually subject to change at the Kickstarter. Currently you'll see that we're using a white with a blue for better contrast and better for the space theme. So I already talked a little bit about how to explore and that the station is a modular, tile-based place, but I didn't go over how you move and how you explore. Each character has a static movement. Currently, these demo characters have 3. As you explore through the station, you first start, as I said previously, on the Icarus spaceship. This is the player's spaceship that they start on, which has some special actions on it. Each miniature would start here, and you would take your movement score of 3 and be able to move up to 3 tiles. But see, as you can see, there's only 1 tile right here. So in order to continue, you would have to explore and activate the station's power to get a brand new room for you to go into. So in order to call into a new room, you would have to basically move through one of the empty doors in the room you're in. When you do that, you will draw from a tile stack a brand new tile, and you'll place it so that it lines up door to door. Not every single room has multiple doors that go from 4 sides. Some of them have 2, some of them have 1, some of them have 3. But this particular one is the detention block. It has a scenario triggered effect in the top right-hand corner of the tile, which means you'd read a special section from the scenario. And it also has another special ability on it that when you basically enter this room, you'd place 3 counters, and each time this room is entered, you'd remove a token. If no tokens exist, you'd spawn 2 creatures, because this is a detention block. This is a place that the station keeps some of its really mean and nasty baddies in it. So just to simulate that, I'm going to spawn 1 creature. And basically I want to be able to show you a little bit about how the creature combat would work. First things first, you would spawn the creature card on top of one of these creature hit point trackers. And basically you are looking to create a combat dice pool. In Secrets of the Lost Tomb it was much more difficult, but in Secrets of the Lost Station we have made it much simpler and quicker, so that combat is not watered down, but it is much faster to create your dice pool. All you have to do is look at basically 2 different places. Your special ability or weapon, which will give you a bonus, and it will give you either, for this particular one, a +1 if you're unfocused or a +2 if you're focused. And you'll look at your combat score, which is on your character sheet. This particular character has a 4 combat base and a +1 for their ability. You would then go ahead and you would roll these dice, trying to get successes or potentially Audacity. And you're trying to beat the creature's combat score there, which is, on this one, a 4. The 4 you're trying to beat is in order to prevent it from hitting you for damage and for making you lose courage. Every time you successfully hit a creature and go above its combat score, you will actually gain power, and you will damage the creature. Every success you hit against a creature deals it damage. But if you're under its combat score, it strikes back and deals damage back to the player. And it also forces the player to lose courage. This is a really terrible roll. I got all blanks and 1 very bad failure there. So, well, we're going to try to re-roll that and give you a little bit of a better example. Here we have 2 successes and an Audacity. And again, even if I spent Audacity here, I wouldn't quite hit it. But I would deal him 2 damage for these 2 successes. So if in this particular case, I would deal him 2 damage, and I would take 3 damage, because that's the damage score on the creature, where this little negative minus mark is. I would also go ahead and lose a courage for taking damage from the creature. If my courage is above 5, I would go ahead and I would be focused, which means I have a better bonus to combat in this particular instance. So I'm swapping out the creature for an easier creature, and with this roll, I'm trying to get above a 2. So I'm going to just basically roll once per combat action. I'm just rolling a couple times to just simulate, to hopefully get a better roll here. And luckily I did. Here I have 4 successes and basically 2 misses. And against its 2 combat score, basically I defeated him. I would have dealt him 4 damage, and since he only has 4 hit points, he would be defeated. I would gain courage in this instance. I would also gain a power for defeating him. If there were any other players in the room, they would also have gained courage. There's a couple of other stats on the character. As I said, these creature characters, they have some different abilities. Some of them have special abilities that are triggered by the circle with the X in it. That is the special ability basically trigger for the bad guys. That is the critical fail marker. And they also say how many courage you lose and how much power you could gain from defeating this creature. So again, combat is quite simple. It's basically you spend your action, you do a combat, you roll all of the dice from your combat pool, you compare your successes with their combat score. If you beat it, you don't get damaged, and you'll gain power and courage. And if you do not defeat it, you'll still deal damage equal to the successes you gave to the creature. However, the creature will strike back and hit you back for some damage and potentially have you lose some courage. If you start your turn in the same room as a creature, you want to move out but don't want to combat it, you have to roll against its combat score, which is an Evade check. It's exactly the same as combat, except if you succeed, you get to move unhindered without being damaged. If you fail, you will then, of course, take the damage that is listed on the card, but then you can continue moving. So it's basically as if they get an attack of opportunity on you. But it's a way to potentially save your actions for something that is very impending, like a major station event, or some other objective that you need to complete while you're strategically deciding to leave the creatures behind. Cooperative Evade works a little bit differently from regular Evade. If you start your turn in the room with another character, another player, and the room also has a bunch of other creatures in it, that player being in the room actually acts as a distraction for the other creatures that are in that room. They will actually be engaging them, so you don't have to roll for evasion. You can actually move through that room normally without having to fight or roll evade for those creatures. However, that player, if they want to move out after and they're alone, they do have to then roll for evade for each creature in the room individually to try to find a way to get out and see if they get hit by those creatures. There are some other actions that players can do in the game, such as room tile actions. These are special actions where the hero themselves can activate a special ability for that room. Such as here in the bridge of the station, you can spend an action and you make a knowledge roll and you need 2 successes. If you pass, you can destroy any creatures in a target entry point. So strategically, you can try to move out of a room that is an entry point, try to get creatures to go in there, and then activate special abilities. So in this instance, this character Jack is going to roll his knowledge, which are 2 dice. He's going to try to get a success. Well, he did not get the 2 successes needed to do that. And he didn't get it on that roll either, but let's pretend like he did. He got 2 successes there. And what he would do is, if he passed, he would destroy any of the creatures that are in that room immediately. And there are lots of different cool special abilities that can be triggered by the heroes in different room tiles in the station. Each hero has 2 other stats that we did mention really quickly, but those 2 stats are called courage and power. When you kill creatures, your courage will go up if you're in the same room or if you're nearby, and your power will also go up. Once again, power is used as a special stat that is like experience, which is something that you really want, because when you get up to 10 power, your character will immediately level up during the game, and it will allow you to activate new special abilities, get other kinds of bonuses for your character, and have player progression so that you can get more and more powerful as you go through the game. And more of these abilities will unlock as you play through the campaign, which in all of the different campaign scenarios will unlock different ways to play each character, making the gameplay even more unique and replayable. One of the most important things about Secrets of the Lost Station are the stories and the narratives that the players live and breathe throughout each scenario within each campaign of the game. The core game comes with its own scenario book, filled with the stories and the narratives and the station events, and of course, the campaign. Each one of the expansions, such as the Oblivion, Machinations, each one of these different expansions, each come with their own campaign book as well. Each one of them adds new stories, new campaigns, new challenges for you and your group of friends to play and challenge yourself against in Secrets of the Lost Station. I thank you so much for watching our gameplay video. I know that I didn't go over every single rule in the game here. However, if you have questions, comments, please put them in the comments of the Kickstarter or go to BoardGameGeek.com and make a post in the forum, and we will be more than happy to answer any of the questions you have about Secrets of the Lost Station, about any component or gameplay element that we can answer. We thank you so much for backing us here on Kickstarter. You're the best backers in the world, and we can't do this without you.